What's going on, guys? Urban Bass Layers here again. Just got a box. Do it. Do molds. Some plastisol, a crawl mold, and some colorant, some other stuff in there. Gonna open this thing up and see what we got here, man. Just got off work and came home. UPS guy got here right about after I got home. That's pretty cool. My birthday is tomorrow, so this is a birthday present to myself. I've bought plastisol from these guys a few times. It's really good stuff. Mixes really easily in the microwave. Pretty good stuff. Also tomato colorant times 2. This stuff extra thick. Nozzle for it. 3.5 craw. Let's pop this guy open. That's perfect size. I'm going to use this guy for trailers and jigs on my spinner baits. I really like these Essential Series molds because you don't have to pay the money you pay for a actual billet mold. Some of the molds are pretty pricey. This one wasn't too bad. I'm gonna get this thing set up. Color it. This guy also. Smoking shad. So I'm going to be making some 2-colored smoking shads and some 2-color craws. So I'm going to hand pour probably the belly and then inject the rest. See what we can come up with here. May do some different colored bodies and claws also. Two-tone that way. I know, we can always mess around and see what we can do here, man. All good stuff. Do a mold, baby. You always want to remember when you get this stuff, you want to mix it a lot. It's been sitting in the UPS truck. Came all the way from, I think it's Iowa. Came all the way to Sacramento. Give this stuff a good shake. You just pour some in Pyrex. Throw it in the microwave. My microwave, my hot plate, my microwave. Got them plugged in. Got my other colorants over here. I'm gonna get this stuff all set up. This tomato. Oh yeah. That stuff looks good. Top put on it so I can squirt some out. I got all my flake here. It's all high hex. You want to use the heat resistant flake. You don't want to just go to the store and buy some cheesy flake. That stuff don't work. lid just in case. So yeah, I'm gonna get ready to pour some baits here. Let's set up and get going. They're bass layers. Well, that's basically how I make them. Came out pretty good looking. The way it looks. I can do all kinds of stuff with this. I can cut these up, cut the arms off, and stick the arms back in the mold, and then re-pour the bodies. So I think that's what I might do. Show you guys how I do that. It's already nice and solid. May make a bunch of these just this color. I'm liking it. I can make them a lot darker red too if I wanted. I only put a few drops of red in there, and that stuff's almost looks like a Jolly Rancher watermelon color. It's kind of cool. So I made a few different colors here. Made the green grass color, and I put a bunch of different blues and greens flake in there. Color looks pretty cool. And I made some lighter colored tomato craws with black and red flake in them, and some darker red craws, black and red flake. What I'm going to do is I'm going to probably make a bunch of 2-color stuff here and a few Cincos just to see what they look like. Also making these smoking shad. Now what I've done is I take these and I cut them, cut the head off so I can inject, and I'm cutting the bottom off. I'm going to make a bunch of, I made a bunch of this color. I'm going to make a bunch of the candy grass color ones, cutting these off also, and then basically I end up with this. So it's a 2-color bait. And I'm going to make some white and green ones also. I'm going to put eyes on them. I'm going to dip them in the clear plastisol. Should come out pretty cool. Different way to do it because the way the mold is a side-by-side mold, so you can't do like a 2-color injection unless I had the 2-color injection port thing with the double injector. Then I could do it that way. But this is just a quick, easy way to do it. So those will have a white bottom and a white head. Should come out pretty interestingly different. Never seen any baits like that. And these guys, thinking about taking these red ones, cutting the claws off, sticking them back in the mold, and pouring a different colored body. Then I'll have a 2-color. Or I could, with this mold, because it's a top bottom and not a side to side, you can actually pour the belly, hand pour the belly 1 color, and then inject the rest of it. So I'm gonna mess around, just have some fun here with my colors and see what I can do. Urban Bass Layers. So I just like to take the extra plastisol here. Once it gets down lower, I just throw it back in with the stuff that was mixed. Let it sit there for a second. Kind of mix it up a little bit together. That way the liquid stuff hits with the already dried stuff. Things just pop right out. Just pop right off. Now just let this sit for a second, then I'll reheat it back up. It'll kind of all mix together and let these guys dry. And then we're going to move on to the next step. So what I've done is I hand poured a bunch of these little bellies. Got 8 of them. So I'll take one. I'll stick it right here. Doing on the craw mole. Try and get it flat in there. It's kind of straight. Now when you close this and you go to do it, you don't want to move it around too much because that'll fall out. So just tip it up easy. And I'll hook this on. Nice and slow so it doesn't move around in there. Then I got the tomato colored plastisol heating up. And I'll pour some 2-color crawdads here. Now when I'm doing just a small mold like this, let's get the mask off. Doing just a small mold like this, I'll only pull the plunger down maybe 2 inches, 3 inches, because you don't need that much, and if you pour all that plastic in there, you're just wasting time. So just pour enough in there just to do the one, and yeah, keep it going. See what this came out like. Not too bad. Two color. It's the easy, cheap way to make 2-color baits. Takes a little while, but hey, they work. They come out. Pretty cool. That's all it is, just little bellies. Hand pour the belly. And then you inject the rest on the top. So that's how you do those. I'm going to move on. I'm going to finish these. Got 7 more of these guys to do, and then I'm going to move on to the white on the swim baits. Not bad. Right, so I made some craws. Now I'm going to start hooking up these swim baits here, smoking shads. And what I've done is I poured a bunch of them, and I've cut them with some scissors, and I'm going to inject white around these. So that's what I'm going to do next. I got a bunch of them cut already. I got 8 of these light green ones and 8 of the darker green with the white pearl in with the green. This is the grass color, green grass. So yep, here we go. I'm gonna get this stuff going in there. Just poured a whole bunch of plastisol in here. Get this going. I'll mix all my colorants in with it and all that stuff. We'll get it going. So I got my injector, got the mold. Getting a little warm on the hot plate just because they've been sitting here for a second. Got the plastisol just about heated all the way up. I got a whole bunch of different colors of flake I'm going to use. I'm going to use just a little tiny bit of each color, and I got the white pearlescent color, so I'm going to be using that with a bunch of different flakes, so it's going to come out kind of crazy looking. Plastisol's a little bit bubbly still. May need one more round in the microwave. Now typically, like I always say, I usually always have my mask and my gloves on when I'm doing this, but right now just making a little video. This stuff's not really steaming yet, so once that stuff gets really hot and steaming, you want to get your mask on. Got to get some new filters pretty soon here. Been using this mask a little while. Probably just buy a whole entire new mask. Pretty cheap. As you keep mixing it, keep heating it up, 30-second intervals. You don't want to go for more than 30 seconds because you will burn the plastisol. You're going to get a bunch of bubbles in here from mixing it. That's normal. You just got to keep heating it up until those bubbles will rise up out of this stuff. As you know, heat rises. Just kind of see it. The bubbles will come up and out. Sometimes I'll stick it on the hot plate and it'll help pull the bubbles up out. The other thing, once I put the colorant in there, then I'll be able to toss it in the microwave a little bit longer. Pearl white. Oh yeah, that's going to be awesome. You want to get it just to where it's mixable, and then mix your colors in. A lot of people like to put the colors and their flake and stuff in before it's mixed. I don't like to do that. I think you can mix it a little easier once it's heated up to a certain degree, when it gets to the 350 where you've got to get it. So I'm going to put a little pinch of all these different colors in here. See what this comes out like. I always just use a little willow blade, extra willow blade that I had sitting around. Makes it real simple. Just take a little tiny pinch on the end of that thing. I'm going to get as many different colors of flake in here as I can with the white, but I don't want to overdo it, so I'm just trying to do a little tiny bit. Some chartreuse, excuse me, sea green, and some chartreuse. The chartreuse almost looks gold. Well, this stuff's going to mix a long way in here. I may come back with a little more extra of the blues. I don't want too much of it. You can always add more flake. You don't want to mess up and dump a whole bunch. When I first started doing this, I used to just dump it out of the container. All bad. I dumped a whole bunch into a batch, and it just ruined it. I had to keep melting it down and mixing it with other stuff to get it down to where it was actually usable. A little bit of black just for effect. Something about these recycled baits that I use, they got a ton of different color of flake in them, and they catch a lot of fish. So I've decided I'm just going to use every color of flake I got here, because why not? I'm going to experiment here. So that ruby red, that stuff's awesome. Or excuse me, fire red. This stuff is awesome. I've used that red before and just clear plastisol and made these red baits, and man, they work pretty good. Alright, so what we're going to do here, different colors, getting a little sticky already. I'm going to go ahead and toss this back in the microwave. Since this is the first batch, to try to get all this clear in there. You can get the top stuff off with your fingers. After working with this stuff for a while, you are going to burn yourself a couple times. I mean, I should have my gloves on right now, but doing a video, like I keep saying, I don't want to have to keep taking my gloves on and off. I've done this so many times that I know basically about when I can grab onto stuff and when I can't. Injector's ready to go. Get my gloves on. Crazy looking colors. I think it'll work. It's got a little bit of bubbles in it, so I'm going to toss it back in here. Alright, so I got my mold sitting here. Now I have the bait already in there, half of the bait. And the way I have this sitting, the bait's on the bottom. That way when I inject, the plastisol will go in on the top. Now I could stand this up and inject like I normally do. But sometimes the bait likes to fall over inside of the mold. So I started doing it like this. Man, these things are going to look cool. So I just inject like this. And then I stand it up. Basically, you're just letting the excess fill in there. That way you don't got any air pockets in there. So we'll see what happens here. See what they look like. May have to add a little bit more white, but I don't know. Just takes a second. This stuff dries so fast. Wait a second thing over here. And when you pull your plastic out like this, I mean it's still hot, but I mean it's already dry. You don't want to throw this back into here yet. Go ahead and you toss it over here and you can reheat it. This stuff's already melted. You don't want to throw your dried stuff in with your melted, because then you're going to get big old chunks and clumps of stuff in with your bait. So don't do that. Ooh, excuse me. Crazy looking. I think I might need a little bit more white in there. I don't like the little slit plate that they have on here. I especially don't like Senkos that have them, because I just feel like it's one extra spot on the bait that the hook can hook into. And if you got that slot on the bottom, see, this doesn't have the slot. If you have that slot on the bottom, I just feel like there's less plastic there. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. Every time I bought baits like that, I don't like them. Different way to do two color. Now I tried to keep the top of the head on there right here. But when I inject, because of where the port's at, the plastic doesn't pass the piece right there, so I have to cut them off like that, and I can't. Now, like I said, the bait it's side to side like that. Now, if it was a belly mold or a top bottom, then I could pour the belly first and then do it, and it would be way easier. But it's all right. Now I just got to put some eyeballs on them. I got a ton of different eyeballs that I can toss on here, and then you just dip this in the clear plastic over it, and yeah, there she has it. So I'm going to have some of that color, and then I'm going to have some that are going to be like that. So choose one of these, see what we can do. Let's stick this guy in here. Get it upside down in there like that. Put the other side on. Tighten up the clamp. It's got so much green flake in it that it almost looks green. I'm liking it. I think those will do pretty good for trailers. Got these red eyes here. You peel the back off. It's got the sticky on it. Got one side on. Just go ahead and stick that on there. It's the red eyes. Just come over here. Stick that head in there like that. Let that dry. So you put your eyeballs on. Not too hard. It's pretty decent. Bunch of these done. Pretty cool looking. Something different. Definitely different. I just gotta finish these ones off. And they'll look just like that. Pretty cool. Right on. So there you have it. So I make my two colored swim baits. Pretty cool. Never made them like this, so this is the first time trial thing. I think they came out pretty cool. Urban Bass Layers, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share.